everyone, I'm Nia. Please like and subscribe. Most stories around here start off with unhappy families. Growing up, I always felt like I'd lucked out with mine. We weren't very rich, but we were always comfortable. Mom and Dad completely doted on me, and even after being together since high school, they were still crazy about each other, which they didn't hide. Even though I sometimes found them embarrassing, I secretly loved how in love they were. The only thing they ever disagreed on was me playing soccer. I'd always been sporty, and when Dad enrolled me in the local girls' football club at 10, the wires in my brain connected the second I kicked the ball.
2 extra hours of training every day till the big match, okay?
You're pushing her too hard, honey. She needs to focus on school right now.
She's born to be a football star.
Once in 7th grade, I was walking back home from practice when I spotted 2 older boys roughing up a skinny boy my age.
Well, hello, Mr. Lame. Looks like you're a poet. What's that around your neck? A woman's necklace?
Please, give it back. It's my mom's.
As they kept teasing him, I charged towards them, kicking one bully hard in the knees and headbutting the other. Don't you morons know there's some lines you just don't cross? Then I grabbed the skinny boy's things, took his hand, and made a run for it. The bullies came after us, but we hid behind a garbage dump as they ran past. Hey, you're okay now?
Oh, yes, thank you. It's just that you remind me of my goat Octopus who used to headbutt everyone and died from a concussion.
I remind you of a dead goat named Octopus?
Yeah, your eyes are just like hers, even your voice.
How about you just say thank you and stop talking? That was the day Zeke and I became friends. In fact, he'd just moved with his single dad into the house next to ours. He couldn't kick a ball to save his life, but he was sweet and smart, and he seemed to really enjoy doing all my homework. And because we were super close, I started getting teased about him in high school.
He, likes you. It's all in the signs, babe. His eyes sparkle when he looks at you. His voice gets deeper when he says your name, and he always notices small things about you. And have you seen how his feet are always pointing at you when he's talking to you?
Where else would they be pointed? You're being ridiculous. But those comments got under my skin, because after that, I kept seeing the stupid signs. Was I imagining them now, or had I missed them all along? I had a really big match soon, and before it started, I was sitting on the side bench and fidgeting with my hands when Zeke sat down next to me.
Nia, you've got nothing to be nervous about. You're gonna win. We'll go out to celebrate afterwards. And there's, also something I need to tell you.
What is it?
It can wait a few more hours. Just came to wish you luck.
He gave me this strange look as he left, and my heart fluttered. Jeez, what was that? But all thoughts vanished as soon as the match started. It was an intense one, with our team having a slight lead. But as I was hovering near the goalie, an opponent kicked the ball hard and sent it flying at my face. I was knocked back, and my head hit the metal goalpost. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes next, I found myself alone in a hospital room. I couldn't recall why I was there. Feeling panicked, I tried running out, but my legs felt like jelly, and I found myself falling face forward, straight into someone's strong arms. I looked up into the warm brown eyes of a tall, really cute guy who instantly pulled me into a tight hug.
Nia, oh my god, I can't believe you're finally awake.
Nia? How do you know my... Oh my god, Zeke? Is that you? Why do you look so different?
I just upgraded my wardrobe a bit.
A bit? You look like the lead singer of a boy band. Also, how are you suddenly taller?
Nia, you might want to sit down for this.
And what he told me next knocked the wind out of me. 3 years? I've been in a coma for 3 years? I didn't even know how to begin processing this. And when I asked him to call my parents, Zeke went pale.
I don't know if I should tell you this, although it's kind of important. Okay, I should. Don't get upset, because you might.
Spit it out.
I don't want to send you back into a coma.
I swear to God, I will twist your arm so hard.
Okay, your parents got divorced and your dad has a girlfriend who seems to be a total witch.
What? I'd lost 3 years. My parents were divorced. My dad had a witch girlfriend, and my geeky best friend had become hot. After the doctors had run all their tests, I was told I'd need physiotherapy, but I was ready to be discharged. Soon after, Mom and Dad both arrived at the hospital, and we had a teary reunion. Mom said she'd take me home with her and answer all my questions about their divorce. As we went down to the hospital entrance, suddenly 4 men in black suits surrounded us, but no one else looked surprised.
I think I'll leave this first. I wouldn't want the crowd outside to overwhelm Nia.
Did I miss something here?
You know how you said earlier I look like a lead singer of a boy band? Well, actually, I am. I'll tell you all about it later, okay?
And the minute the hospital door opened, the crowd broke out into frenzy frenzied screams. I looked on in complete shock at Zeke smiling and waving while his bodyguards escorted him to a car, and then he was gone. Holy mother of what? On the way home, Mom explained that a year ago, Zeke had joined some neighborhood kids to form a band. They'd won a talent competition with a song Zeke had written, which shot them to instant fame.
His fans are usually camping outside the hospital because they know he visits often.
His fans? Man, I was not getting over this anytime soon. It also turned out that he no longer lived in the house next door. And then, Mom finally explained everything that happened with Dad.
After you went into a coma, I started getting really angry at your dad. I knew it wasn't his fault, but I kept blaming him because he'd always pushed you to play soccer. We were fighting all the time and growing distant. Then one day I received pictures in the mail of him and a woman from work looking like a couple, and that was the last straw. He denied having an affair, but I had proof, and soon after the divorce, he started dating that same woman. Maybe it wasn't fair to blame him for your accident, but he betrayed our marriage.
My heart broke at how my perfect family had been torn apart, but somehow I was having trouble believing that Dad would cheat on Mom. Adjusting to my new life was quite tough over the next few days. I had to get used to Dad not being around, and he couldn't even visit immediately because his girlfriend Rachel had a family emergency out of town. I couldn't play soccer till I was done with physiotherapy, and I was 3 years behind everyone in high school, which also meant that Zeke and I were no longer in the same class, and it was almost impossible to even have a conversation with his bodyguards lurking in the background, or his fangirls all over him. Just a week later, Mom suddenly had to go overseas on a business trip and was worried about leaving me alone, and I suggested I could stay with Dad.
I can't leave you with him and that woman.
Mom, I haven't had any time with him since I woke up, and I miss him. Mom reluctantly agreed to arrange things with Dad, and the next day, she dropped me off at his mansion. Apparently, his company had skyrocketed to success while I was in a coma. Dad greeted me with a bear hug, and just then, I saw Rachel walk in. She was pretty, but like a witch.
Oh, I finally get to meet Nina.
It's Nia, sweetheart.
Close enough, my. You look just like your mother, don't you?
Definitely didn't sound like a compliment.
I'll get Nora settled in, babe. Why don't you order something nice for dinner?
Yeah, of course.
Not so fast. You forgot to hug me when I came home earlier, honey buns.
Oh, sorry about that, sugar booger.
Ew, I was about to vomit. As soon as Dad left the room, Rachel turned back to me with a cold smile.
Oh, darling, isn't it just divine how fate brings people together? Here I am, the new beacon of light in your dear father's life. And there you are, the previous light. But let's not dwell on the past. We must look to the future. And sweetheart, the future is Rachel.
Previous light? I'm his only daughter.
Yes, but till last week you were a vegetable, and people move on. One must keep up with the times, mustn't one? Oh, and speaking of time, I imagine you'll be wanting to spend a considerable amount of yours at boarding school, summer camps, perhaps even a nice long exchange program. Oh, the places you'll go.
I'm not going anywhere. And why are you talking like that?
I don't think you're listening to me, my little chickadee. While you were sleeping, a new world order was established. There's room for only one queen bee in this hive, and you're looking at her. Oh, but don't worry. I'm sure we'll find a lovely little worker bee role for you.
Good job, Aunt Rachel. You've been practicing that speech all morning, and you nailed it.
A boy my age walked in behind us, and he was drop-dead gorgeous. Rachel just made a face and introduced him as her nephew, Brian, who was staying with her for some modeling gigs in town. As the two of us talked, I felt rather relieved that Brian was around. He seemed cool and fun, and easy on the eyes, too. Later that evening, we decided to play Twister, and we couldn't stop laughing as we got tangled up. Left foot yellow. As Brian reached over awkwardly, his elbow bumped into a table, and the huge vase on it wobbled. We both jumped up to catch it, and Brian ended up wrapping his arms around me instead of the vase before we collapsed on the floor. Just then, the door opened, and we found Zeke looking down at us.
Am I interrupting something?
Oh, no, nothing. What are you doing here?
I dropped by at your place and your mom was just leaving for the airport. She told me you were here, and I thought you could use some company.
Well, luckily for her, I'm staying with my aunt here for the next few weeks, too. Wait a minute, you're that boy band singer, right? I'm shooting a shampoo commercial with you tomorrow.
Ah, right. You're the model. Small world.
As Brian excused himself, I told Zeke about how weird Rachel was. I just don't know what Dad sees in her. Also, though. I'm finding it hard to accept that Dad cheated on Mom. I want to find out more about how exactly Rachel ended up in Dad's life.
Yeah, she's shady. Don't worry, if there's some dirt, we'll dig it up.
We? I doubt a celebrity like you has the time.
I'll always make time for you, Nia.
I remembered what Mom had said about him visiting me in the hospital often, and my heart skipped a beat.
I'd be careful of Rachel during your stay. And maybe you should stay away from that Brian dude, too. I mean, he is her nephew.
He seems nothing like her, though. Wait, you're not jealous, are you?
No, why? I mean, that would... Of course not.
How does a famous pop star have so much free time?
It's called time management. I can give you some tips.
Won't you have paparazzi or fans following you here?
Oh, no. I have a foolproof plan. I went wearing a mask to this small cafe no one visits, then changed my outfit there and my car too. Then sometime later, I ditched my car for a scooter my bodyguard was waiting with. And we zoomed on our way through some quiet back alleys, and here I am. Can we rewind the movie to the start? Hey, Nia, I thought you'd like to go watch a movie, so I booked the whole cinema for us. We'll go through the back entrance. No one will know I was there.
That sounds amazing, dude. Can't wait.
I meant me and Nia, us. There isn't space for you.
It's a whole cinema. Of course there is. You look a bit cranky. Here, have a cookie. Dude, did you follow us here?
Of course not. It's my favorite place. I practically live here. Nia, you've got to try their slushie.
Can't you see we've already ordered them?
Oh God, brain freeze, brain freeze!
I've got thighs of steel. You can't beat me.
Watch me, buddy. I can do this all day while singing.
Do I need to be here for this? They seemed to be fighting for my attention, but I was beginning to feel rather ignored. And worse, whenever I tried to spend any time alone with Dad and talk to him about what happened between him and Mom, Rachel made sure I couldn't.
Sorry, honey. A bee slipped into Rachel's dress and the poor thing's traumatized. We'll go to the mall another time. Sorry, honey. Rachel didn't receive an important package and she's very upset. Rain check on the breakfast plan?
Soon, I was cleared by the physiotherapist for some light soccer practice, and Dad was so happy that he wanted to accompany me to the club. Of course, Rachel had to tag along. Just as I was exiting the girls' locker room, I found Rachel outside pinching her nose.
Ew, you'd think the girls' locker room would smell a little better. Ugh. Anyway, I just came by to say good luck. Break your arms and legs.
I just rolled my eyes and kept walking.
Oh, also, your dad and I are getting married soon.
My heart dropped to my stomach. You're making that up. Dad wouldn't just ask you to marry him without telling me about it first.
Yes, he would, Nancy. Just like he got divorced while you were sleeping. Now, don't you want your dad to be happy? He certainly wasn't with your mom.
You don't know the first thing about my parents' relationship.
Oh, trust me, I know more than you think. And if you're harboring any secret desire to go all parent trap on them, don't think for a second it'll work. It's so over between them. So over.
She walked away smirking, and I was trembling with rage. I had to go join the game right after, but my focus was totally shot, and I was terrible on the field. I left the game midway and marched over angrily to Dad. Are you two getting married?
What?
She said you're gonna get married soon.
Nia, sweetie, I said your dad and I are going to Maryland soon. I was only asking if you wanted to come along.
What? Gosh, you're such a creep and a liar. But Rachel burst into tears, and Dad looked rather displeased with me as he consoled her. She was evil and manipulative, and I had no idea how to make Dad see that. But then one evening, Z called me up to give me some news. Apparently, he'd hired a private investigator to look into her, and he was still working on it, but he'd found out that Rachel had grown up in the same hometown as my parents. Their town was small, but neither of them ever said anything about knowing Rachel from before. They're even the same age, and there was one high school there.
Maybe we need to look for a yearbook.
The next evening, Dad and Brian were both working late, and Rachel had her Pilates class, so Zeke and I started snooping around her room, hoping to find something from her past. We'd looked all over and found nothing, when suddenly we heard the front door open. It's Rachel. She wasn't supposed to be back so soon. Suddenly, Zeke grabbed my hand and dragged me into the bathroom, then pulled me into the shower and drew the curtain. Don't you think she'll come straight to shower after an exercise class?
Oh my God.
We held our breath as we heard her walk into the room, mumbling something to herself, then straight into the bathroom.
Ugh, who does that woman think she is? Telling telling me I can't attend class because I was late? Oh, she's crossed the wrong blonde. Maybe her gym will be infested by rats soon. Or maybe it'll catch fire. The fun is in the mystery.
She cackled like a maniac, let out a loud, stinky fart, and left. We waited a few more minutes, and then thankfully, we heard her car pull out of the driveway. Just then, I noticed Zeke was still clutching my arm.
That was super close. Why are you looking at me like that?
Sometimes, I still can't get over how much you've changed. How come I never knew you had all this talent?
Well, I never let you read any of the stuff I wrote, and I always liked singing, but not in front of anyone. I guess after your accident, when more time went by and you didn't wake up, I felt depressed and alone. Joining a band really helped me.
Helped you get tons of fangirls. That cheerleader in school who's always clinging to your arm is very pretty.
She really is. Yeah, here I am, hiding in a bathtub of a weird woman with you.
Suddenly, he leaned closer, and I could feel my heart beating faster. But then, he just reached over and pulled the shower curtain open and stepped out. What was I thinking?
Maybe we should check the attic.
As we were rummaging boxes, we suddenly stopped short when we heard someone coming up the stairs. Oh God, she's back? What are we gonna say we're doing here?
I have an idea.
And just as the door burst open, Zeke pulled me in for a kiss.
Am I interrupting something here?
Oh, it's just you. Yeah, duh, clearly. Can you please go away?
Nia, are you okay? You look flustered. He didn't force himself on you, did he?
Are you serious right now, dude?
I'm talking to her, Nia.
Before I could say anything, Zeke pushed Brian. Brian pushed him back, and the two started fighting like crazy.
Ow! Stop! My face is my job! My face is my job!
Don't touch mine either. I have a concert tomorrow.
Deal.
And then the two went crazy again. I tried to stop them, but they suddenly went crashing into a pile of boxes, and some things fell out that caught my eye. There were pictures of Mom and Dad sitting next to me in the hospital. Who took these? And when? And there were more pictures of Mom and Dad from before. All of them with Mom's face crossed out. Oh my God! Can you two cut it out and shut up for a minute? As they both calmed down and looked at the pictures, I filled Brian in on what we were actually doing here. We found Rachel's yearbook as well, and Mom's face was crossed out there too, but I couldn't find Rachel.
No, look, that's her!
It was a plump, brown-haired girl with glasses and acne who looked nothing like the Rachel I knew.
She lost a ton of weight and got a lot of work done on her face. Obviously, I'm not allowed to ever bring that up. And I've always known she's crazy, but I didn't know she's some weirdo stalker.
I don't know what all of this means exactly, but we're gonna find out. And later that evening, while she was cuddled on the couch with Dad watching a movie, the three of us confronted her.
What are you doing?
What are all these pictures?
You'll have to ask Rachel. Also, did you know she used to attend high school with you?
What?
As Dad looked at Rachel, she suddenly lost it and wiped everything off the table.
Of course you wouldn't remember me. You wouldn't even look at someone like me in high school. I've loved you since we were kids. But you were always so obsessed with Nia's stupid mother. I've kept tabs on your life since you left town. And I heard your kid had been in an accident and your marriage was on the rocks. I hired a private investigator to find out more. I just wanted to be near you, darling, to comfort you. I still loved you so much. So I joined your company and we instantly got close.
I was going through an awful time, and I appreciated having a friend. But that's all it was back then. I never understood who would Photoshop pictures of us holding hands and send them to my wife. That was you?
Why does that change anything? You guys were already at the edge of the cliff. I just gave you to the last push. And see, you've been so much happier since then. Honey buns.
I want you to leave right now. Go to a hotel or wherever and I'll send you all your stuff. You can't stay here another minute.
Rachel looked at him in shock, then screamed and lunged forward to attack him. But Brian and Zeke dragged her away. Dad collapsed on the sofa in shock.
I can't believe this.
Me neither. She broke up you and Mom. Dad lifted his head slowly.
Not really, Nia. I can't believe Rachel sent those pictures to your mother. But the truth is, we were already broken. Your mom couldn't stop blaming me, and I should have been patient and comforted her, but instead I lashed out too. And she just wouldn't believe that I didn't cheat, so things had to end.
Maybe we can fix everything now.
Don't get your hopes up, love. Yes, we can start to forgive each other, but it may never be what it used to be. I still love your mom, and we both will always love you.
Things slowly started to mend between my parents after they talked things over, but I wasn't sure if the old spark would return. But I was glad they could be friends. And a month later, when I was back at my first friendly soccer match, it warmed warmed my heart to see them both in the stands, along with an unexpected visitor. What are you doing here? I thought you were still on tour.
I canceled some shows. I couldn't miss this. So is Brian here?
No, I mean, we're still friends, but I didn't think he'd come right after he asked me out, and I turned him down. I could literally see Zeke's eyes light up.
Aw, poor guy.
You're not fooling anyone. I gotta go. The match is about to start.
How about this time you finish it and let me take you somewhere to tell you that I like you, and have ever since the day we first met.
I'm picking the restaurant.